Hey everyone, Two Scoops here. Today, we're going to be looking at SmolTools, which is a set of tools developed by Hugging Face that allow you to interact with their small, quote unquote, small language models. These are lightweight, fairly capable models that are designed around the idea of running on device, primarily with CPU inference. You might be asking yourself, why is this interesting? Why would I even want this? And you're right to a certain extent. Proprietary, quote unquote, frontier models are probably what you want to use if you are trying to do some creative writing or handle some master's or PhD level programming, something like that. Those models are very capable. However, I think we're all sort of discovering that LLMs are also useful for very boring, simple tasks. Something like this is absolutely fantastic for that. I would say there's really two great ways to look at this. Number one, this can be very practical. There are lots of purposes that a small, on-device language model can solve and possibly more easily accessible than a web-based model. Number two is more existential, perhaps more philosophical. You can make the argument that we're rapidly heading into a world where a handful of big, powerful companies control these giga models that we interact with. And if AI is as big of a thing as people are saying, that might not be a future that we want to live in. I think that at least having high quality open source solutions as a fallback is super important. And we've seen this happen in the operating system space. There are great proprietary solutions. Mac and Windows are both generally very good products, but we have Linux, which puts so much upward pressure on the proprietary solutions to improve their features, to stay ahead. It also puts upward pressure on respecting user privacy. It's really, really important that we have good open source solutions. I anticipate that the open source solution will always be 1 year, 18 months behind the proprietary solution, which is great, which is fine. I'm just glad they exist. So today, I'm going to show you how to get this up and running on your computer. Try it out for yourself. And as we do this, I'm going to sort of rant, maybe talk about some random, sort of the philosophy of it all as we do it. So let's dive in. Let's go to the Hugging Face SmolLM GitHub to get started. So they talk about SmolLM. It's a family of compact language models meant to run on device, and they're able to solve a wide range of tasks. And then as sort of a way for you to interact and use these small language models, they've developed SmolTools, which is very much an alpha, somewhat experimental user interface for these. It can rewrite text, it can summarize text, and it has a chat bot. Funnily enough, they don't mention it here. And then perhaps most interestingly, and one that I will make a future video on that I don't fully understand, Small Agent. I'm sure you've seen the agentic, quote unquote, kind of cringy phrasing, but LLMs that can essentially take over your computer and perform tasks for you. Super interesting, super cool. I would be much more interested in having a local model doing that than some web-based model. So I'm guessing that's not a very fleshed out feature, but it's something I'm very, very interested in for the future. So let's get this up and running. First thing you're going to want to do, I like PyCharm, but open up your favorite Python IDE and create a fresh virtual environment. The first thing that I did is in my terminal, I did git clone --depth1, and then I put in the URL for the SmolLM git location. So you can get that by copying it right here. Now, just for simplicity's sake, it has a bit of a nested folder structure. So I'm going to open this in my Explorer. Yeah, I'm going to navigate into the SmolTools folder we are just going to cut this and we're going to put this in the base directory of our project. There we go. You will then see that reflected here in your IDE. For me, it's PyCharm. There's a SmolTools folder. Demo tk-enter is going to be the most important thing that we have here. Okay, let's double click into our requirements.txt. Right off the bat, I'm on Windows, so this TK Mac OS requirement, I don't want it. Pinput, great. Llama CPP Python. This is something that there are different ways to install this. I'm going to tell you, if you're watching this video, you probably just want to get it up and running as quickly as possible. I'm going to show you how to do it as quick as I know how. So let's go over to the Llama CPP Python PyPy webpage. You will notice they mention here, it's also possible to use a pre-built wheel. Pip install, and then there's sort of this extra index URL that you tack onto the end. If you go to this URL, you will see it is only updated as of making this video for version 0.2.90. However, the newest version is 0.3.1. This is part of the nightmare of Python portability. This just came out and the requirements file is already broken. We can fix it. What we're going to do, 0.2.90, and so we're going to correct for that. And then I'm going to add this. We just want this pre-built wheel. Is this going to be optimized for performance on my computer? Absolutely not. Is it just going to work, and is it going to work just kind of good enough? Probably. So actually, let's not do this in the requirements file. I'm just going to copy it here. And then I'm going to comment this line out. We're going to do this manually. So let's go to the terminal, pip install. That looks good to me. Let her rip. Okay, successfully installed. Now we're just going to type, the rest of these should be fine. So we're going to do pip install -r requirements.txt. And this will take a moment to run. Okay. We're getting somewhere, guys. Now, once that's all done, let's head over into demo_tk-enter. I think the only errors we're going to have is the fact that it's referencing the Mac OS X button. Let's just do from tk-enter import button. There we go. There's still going to be some errors, but I'm just going to run it and I'm just going to show you quick. So all we want to do now, let's just run this demo tk-enter. Okay, it's up and running. There's going to be some errors here that we will address. So if we go to the README, we will see that sort of the whole point of SmolTools is that it exists and runs in the background, and it can be accessed through the F keys. So let's do F5 quick. I just want to show you it working. So for me, I got to hold the function key. Whoops, excuse me. There we go. Okay, so this is sort of the standard LLM, fairly familiar chat interface. I like that they're using tk-enter. You can argue it looks like it's from Windows 95, but there's so much emphasis on running things in a web browser, which I get, but this just feels more kind of desktop native to me. It feels more just like an on-device application. So I get why they wrote it here. I'm glad to see a little bit of love for tk-enter. I think it's overlooked quite a bit. So I don't know. What do you talk about with your LLMs? Never mind. I don't want to know. Tell me a story about Senator Palpatine. Now remember, guys, this is running on an inexpensive laptop. I got this on eBay for like $300 used. And as you can see, The inference speed is reasonable. Is it like ChatGPT, fill out 100 lines of code in a few seconds fast? Absolutely not. But it's, I would say, acceptable for this. I'm not sure if this is quite copyright friendly here. They have clearly some knowledge of copyrighted material. I won't tell LucasArts if you don't. Okay, very good. The chat is working. I am going to show you guys, however, if we do F1, I think it's going to crash. Yes. So what's happening here is that the button object that it's calling is designed for Mac OS, not for Windows. Apparently Mac gets cooler stuff than we do on Windows. How unfair is that? So all we're going to do is we're going to go down. It's going to highlight. Borderless apparently is not an option available, nor is the focus color. So all we're going to do is just delete that. And then I'm just going to Control F around. We're going to find every instance of that. Happens a decent amount. Okay. That may be it. Very good. Okay, let's try that again. Now let's just quick look. We already did the chat interface. Let's do the small draft interface. This is something I actually potentially find very practical. There we go. There's other applications that use the F keys, so my computer's kind of freaking out here. But what this is this is a way, kind of a rewriter. So this is something I actually find very useful with LLMs that I didn't expect that I would. Very often in our communication, we have a generalized, higher level concept in your brain. And you got to email your boss or your coworker. And you want to just take that concept and wrap it in the social niceties that are expected and hand it to them. There is some mental overhead to that. This is so ridiculous that we live in a world where I'm even saying this. I get it. But this is how I feel, and apparently how a lot of people feel because this product exists. So let's give it a shot. Yo, let's set up a meeting for 4 p.m. on Wednesday. That cool with you? Okay, very formal. Dear recipient's name, I hope this message finds you well. I would like to propose a meeting on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Could this time work for you? Best regards, your name. Maybe a little formal. I'm going to say the model itself didn't hit a home run here, but I mean, of these two, which is better? I would send the one on the right before I'd send the one on the left in a professional context. So it did succeed in that sense. What else we got here? Excuse me. Okay, small draft. Summarize selected text. This is a cool one. So say you're just casually, as one does, you're reading the Wikipedia page on Senator Palpatine. You are checking it for errors so you can feel smarter than somebody who posted an error on the Senator Palpatine Wikipedia page. You're reading the intro and you're like, man, I don't got time for this. You select the text, you copy it, you hit F2, and then the summarizer pops up. Since this is a decent number of tokens that I'm giving the model, it takes a little bit of time to start generating the first token. And there we go. It is generating a summary of the intro to the Senator Palpatine Wikipedia page for us. What a time to be alive. I'm being a little bit facetious because these are maybe silly use cases, but the whole point of this is just as a demo on the potential. I personally see a world where this is where AI is going. I personally see a world where yes, there will always be the giant proprietary giga models, ChatGPT, Claude. I'm sure Google, Microsoft, all the big tech companies will have their version of that. However, I also see countless, tens, hundreds of thousands of small little models running on device that do simple tasks, but do them very, very well. So this is just an illustration of what's to come. Finally, most interesting perhaps, but what I understand the least is I can't even navigate these pages, the small agent interface. So let's pull that up. My understanding is there's a whole API to be way ambitious and do cool stuff with this. But this is giving the model some agency to use other tools. So the only one that I know of right now is checking the weather, kind of lame, but I think this has the potential to be really, really cool. What's the weather in New York City? So what this is doing is it is giving this prompt to the model, and it is giving it the leeway to go on the internet, find some information, and then feed it back to us in the form of a response. The weather in New York City is sunny with a high of 56 degrees Celsius. Gonna guess it's 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. That is a small exploration of SmolTools by Hugging Face. Very cool. I love that they're thinking about providing these open source models and open source tools to the community. Absolutely fantastic. I am kind of a weirdo when it comes to Python portability. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to take this, wrap it up into just a nice enclosed Windows application so you don't need to run this within an IDE like we did today. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.